So I heard that you have, or sorry, I heard, I've seen, I've noticed that you have hearing aids. So how has that been as a musician, like a full time like musician, and then also in terms of like jams when you're at a jam, like what, like, how do you set yourself up to make sure you don't run into any problems during those, like while playing?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, man. There's some extra considerations. Um, well, I didn't lose my hearing from like loud sounds or anything. A lot of people think that. I think everyone assumes like he's a musician, he wears hearing aids, like he probably blew out his eardrums standing next to a drum set. But no, I have like a genetic thing called otosclerosis, and it basically freezes up the bones in your inner ear. You have some abnormal bone growth, and so these frequencies don't vibrate across those bones as well. And it's genetic. My father has it too. Probably a bunch of people in my family had it before my father, but I've worn my hearing aids since I was like 6 years old because of that. So my situation is a little bit different. Since I was a child, I've been trying to manage that and make that easy in my life. And there's lots of weird, interesting stories I could tell. Like my mom used to sit me down and make me look at her mouth while I practiced like saying things, because she didn't want me to have a lisp or anything. She wanted my speech to be really clear. And I think that might be the reason that I don't have a lisp, is because my mom was patient enough to do that. But when I first got my hearing aids, I heard like birds for the first time. It's a pretty serious hearing loss. I can't function anywhere without hearing aids. Say it that way. I couldn't order at a restaurant or anything. And so yeah, when I started playing music, the first thing that really stood out to me was that I was using my eyes a lot more than most people. And I still do to this day. If I'm at a jam and I want to make sure that I'm in time, a lot of times I just can't hear my own guitar. It's too quiet. All the sound is shooting away from me, and all those other instruments are so loud. But I know when I'm playing well enough that I know that I'm playing appropriately. But to make sure I'm in time, if I can't hear, I normally look at a mandolin player or I look at a bass player, instruments that I also know how to play reasonably well, and I can, visually see what they're doing and make sure that I'm in time. And yeah, there's been some funny times where I've had, like I show up to play a gig and they've sort of set up the sound rig in like a sort of an oval shape, and like I'm at the front of the oval, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to like look at hands, right? I can't see people's hands. Why am I at the front of this thing? So they like invert it, so I'm at the back and everyone else is in my eye line. That stuff tends to help a lot. It's difficult though.
No, I can't imagine that. Like, good on you for being able to, tackle that, you know, that issue. Like, not issue, but like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, I mean, quite frankly, it is an issue. Like when you're on the gig or doing whatever, playing live music or in a recording studio or whatever, everyone else is fully equipped, and you do have some kind of deficiency that you have to overcome. You have to prove that you still deserve to be there in a way, and sometimes it's not easy. Also, hearing aids run on batteries, and if you're in some weird place in the middle of a gig and a hearing aid battery dies, what are you gonna do? I've been on a gig with if you change them both at the same time, then they'll both die at the same time. So don't ever do that. I still to this day don't do that. But I did that when I was a kid, sure enough, and they both died within like 5 minutes of each other while I was on stage at a gig, and it was just unreasonable to think that I could continue like that. And so we were at a bar, and I told the rest of the band to like play something that they could play without me. They played a fiddle tune or whatever, and I walked out into the bar and I looked for all the old dudes with hearing aids. I finally found one, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, "Hey, do you take?" They're kind of marked by color, like orange or brown or whatever, blue. And I was like, "Hey, do you take the brown size?" And he was like, "Yeah, I have some." In his pocket, like old man style, he pulls it out. He's got like a couple of hearing aid batteries, and I was like, "Great, man." And he hooked me up, and then I went back on stage. But it's it's tough sometimes.